Heather.
Hello, how are you?
Excellent.
Good. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Heather is going to be one of our 53 authors. Quite a collection of authors that will be together at the Festival of Books and Creativity that's taking place at the 12 Mile Crossing at Fountain Walk in Novi, Michigan on June 29th. So, Heather, you have two books that you're going to be bringing.
I do. I don't think I'm going to get my third one on the table before we do this, but I'm getting there. So I'll bring two. We'll get us started that way.
Most excellent. So, tell us about those two books.
I'm writing the Realm Writer series. So the first book is An Heir of Realms, and I've got a terrible glare there. There we go. And the sequel is these are like mirrored images here, and I am not good with mirrors. That's where my brain quits. A Transfer of Realms.
Mhm.
And these are the first two books in the Realm Writer series. And then I'm also writing the third book and a prequel novella for the
Ooh.
series. The novella is supposed to come out next before the third one comes out, but I don't think I'm going to make it for the June show. But I'm super excited. The first two books are so much fun for me to write, and I'm super enjoying the third and the prequels. So, the Realm Rider series is a tale of two young heroines fighting dragon like parasites to save their realms from extinction. One is a dragon rider, and the other is a portal jumper. So, it's kind of all over the map, but
Hmm.
we have fun.
Awesome. So, how did you get started? Right. And now these are really thick books. You can't tell from the front covers, but
Yeah.
they're big books.
Transfer is even bigger than air is, but they're both pretty thick. Yeah. Air is a pound and a half. I know that much. And I think transfer is 2 pounds and change. I like to keep it interesting. Wrist exercises, folks. That's what this is all about. You're
Perfect.
welcome. Mhm.
I love it. So, what got you started writing fantasy?
Probably the reading of fantasy that I've been doing for so long. Fantasy has always been my preferred genre, and I've been reading it since I was a kid. And as I was reading it, it just kind of became one of those things where I was feeling like I wanted to be the one creating these worlds and writing these fantastic scenarios. And I always excelled in English class. I love working with words, studying words, understanding and exploring their meanings, their etymological history, just everything about them and the way that they work together. English is so rich, and you can do things with words in English that I don't find other languages have quite as much versatility.
Mm-hmm.
My understanding is limited. I took German, which English being a fairly Germanic language, probably too similar to know. But there were things that English could do that I know German couldn't. And I
Hmm.
think it's amazing the way that words are so versatile, and even one word can have so many different meanings that when in a sentence, if you piece it out, it can actually have multiple meanings in that moment. And that has been so intriguing over the years to me that I just had to start using them in these incredible ways to create these scenes and books and experiences. I couldn't stop. I couldn't help myself.
So, you said that you don't think you'll have book three on the table.
Oh, I won't have book three on the table.
So, you are working on book three.
I
How
am.
many is going to be in this series?
I would love to know too. I know I am almost positive I cannot fit it in four. So my guess is 5 to 6. But that's not including any of the prequel novellas.
Oh, so you've got quite the collection that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, yeah. It's a pretty wide universe, if you will. It has a lot of
Okay.
it has a lot of growth room. And
Hmm.
so I pretty much don't have to be terribly limited. The characters will tell me how long it will take to get through their tale. That's on them. And I just write down what they tell me to say. I'm surprised too half the time. I'm like, really? You did that? Fascinating. That's interesting.
So, do you outline? Are you a plotter?
Yes, no. I have a loose outline.
Yes, no.
Look, the characters, again, they tell me things. So I have a loose outline and I'm like, here's what I
Okay.
think is going to go down. And then they go, no. And then I find out what we're doing while I'm typing. I'm like, oh my gosh, interesting. And then I go back, I have another outline and I update that one so that I can find
Okay.
in a 700-page book. It frequently becomes hard to find things that I want to go
Yes.
back and reference. And then when you add another one to that series, now you've got two that you have to reference. I have to have copious outlining just to find things so that I
Yeah.
can go back and make sure that the continuity is good. So I have several outlines. Whether I follow them is actually a different question.
So, book one's outline is really finalized after it goes to print.
Pretty much right before it goes to print. I'm like,
So
that's
that you can successfully write book two.
yeah, yes. And of course, there's always the, well, where, so book one actually had a lot of book two in it, probably a good
Oh,
third of it. And it was getting so big, so massive, that it just needed to be cut in half. We're actually going to be doing a second edition release of book one, and it's going to end up being around the size of book two. Book
oh.
two has some really beautiful chapter art at the head of every chapter. And
Hmm.
we also made the print ever so slightly larger so that it was a little bit more accessible for the general reader. And so
Mm,
book two
yeah.
is larger, not so much in word count. There are a few more words, I'm not going to lie. Brevity, not my strong suit. But it's not that much bigger in word count. It's just formatted a little bit chunkier. And
Okay.
so we're going to go back and release book one the same way. So it's a little bit easier to read. And it's got all the pretty art from Rob Carlos, who does my cover art as well. And
Ah.
yeah, so it's really it's just a matter of getting it all in and then figuring out where to break so that some of the stuff in the outline will shift to book two and then or book three or whatever. I have outlines all the way
Right.
through the end of the story. They're just probably going to be rewritten completely because, you know. And so, sometimes I enter a book with quite a few outline ideas. And
Okay.
then I figure out how it works as we go, and then I obliterate everything and do it again.
So, what program are you using to write your books in?
I'm so old school. I use Word. Um,
Okay.
and I use Word for my outlines and I use Word for the writing. The only thing that I've added in the last couple of years is Pro Writing Aid as
Okay.
an in-word add-on. And
Hmm.
I use it near the end when I'm done writing. It doesn't, I try not to enable it for much of the writing process because I am a self-editor and
Yeah.
I'm really bad about it. I've had to train myself over the years to stop editing mid sentence. And I can't not because my brain works faster than my fingers. But
Yep.
I will literally stop in the middle of a chapter and go back and start rereading it if I don't exhibit a little self-control. So I've been going to Self Editors Anonymous every Thursday evening. It's getting better. But yeah, Pro Writing Aid helps me stay on track near the end. And I just kind of ignore everything and write really crappy first drafts and then fix
Okay.
them as I go along. I am finding though, I had this like moment of success the other day where I felt like my rough drafts were better than they used to be because I'll
Oh.
find old stuff that has been relegated to future books because it didn't fit or it's farther down the line. I moved it. I
Hmm.
reorganize these all the time. And I just kind of, and I've seen that stuff and gone, "Ugh, and I need to replace it. Those are really bad." And then lately, I'm sitting at shows, I'm writing longhand in front of me, and it's
Hmm.
like when I'm transcribing them back into the computer, I'm like, this is better than I used to write at the beginning. So I had like this
That's
moment
good.
of excitement. Yeah, it was a really good feeling.
And I like that you are also doing longhand.
Yes.
So
Only
you're
good stuff.
taking a notebook with you
Yes,
to
only
your
live events.
shows.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yes. I
Mm.
want to have my computer in front of me. Let's be real. I type so much faster, riddled with errors. I mean, I'm not good at it, but I type so much faster than I write. And I can self edit much more quickly when I'm typing, like, oh, no, not that word, as opposed to, oh, shoot, not that. No, not that. No, not that. And then, the mess. But it feels unapproachable. I don't want people to feel like if I've got a laptop in my lap and the screen is here. Yes, my
Yeah.
dragon will keep an eye on the crowd, but it just doesn't feel the same if I have to like pull
Mhm.
up from a laptop and they go, hi. If I just have a notebook on my lap, people seem to have absolutely no problem interrupting my creative process. So I'm finding that's better.
Well, as long as they're buying something, that's okay.
Yeah, I can't be mad at them.
Oh, you want 2 books? Okay.
I'll help you. I'll take a minute.
I'll stop writing for
Yeah,
that.
just for a sec. You can have 5 minutes.
So you have a couple of English degrees from Oakland University.
I do, because one just wasn't enough. I
So
needed
what are those in? What areas of English?
They are in general English study. I
Okay.
don't know what they're doing now, but back when I was in college, they might have had disciplines within those majors, but they're just
Mm.
general. I didn't know about it. Nobody told me. And so they're just general English. But
Oh,
I was able to take all kinds of incredible things like creative writing and various literature courses, Irish lit, Shakespeare. I even got some linguistics in, which was one of the most fascinating classes I've ever
hmm.
taken. Also, one of the hardest. I really struggled, but it was so much fun. It was like a fun struggle, which
Mhm.
taught me a lot about myself and maybe not great things, but I enjoyed linguistics in a super nerdy way. And though my English classes, obviously Shakespeare, those were some of the best classes. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, just general English, a bachelor's and a master's, both.
Nice. They
Yeah,
do have really nice creative writing classes there.
they do.
I have done those classes.
Yeah, yeah. And some of my favorite professors are still there. Most are retired, which getting old. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know if mine are still there or not. I haven't looked.
don't look.
I don't want to look.
Don't look. If you're not friends with them on Facebook, don't find out.
I don't think some of them would be on Facebook.
Well, there you go. All the more reason not to look up whether they're still working there.
Nice. So
Mm.
you go to Renaissance festivals
Yeah.
and different bazaars. Where else are you selling your books at in person?
So I'm doing a whole bunch of craft fairs. I'm partnering up with other authors and trying to make sure that we're keeping an eye on what's out there. There are so many shows and not
Mhm.
enough time to do them all, especially if I'm expected to, I don't know, write book 3.
Yeah.
I do have to take a minute. And when I'm partnered with other authors, we get to chatting. So that notebook on my lap stays pretty clean for most of the show if I'm not alone. But
Mhm.
I'm also engaged in the Kroger program.
Okay.
I'm selling through them on occasion, basically once a month, once or twice a month for the rest of the year.
Okay.
And that's great because that's during normal shopping hours. I'm usually there from
Mhm.
like 11:30 to 4:35 o'clock. And I do a really long stint just so that I can stay there in case somebody needs me and stay focused because I do get a lot of writing done while I'm just sitting there trying
Hey.
not to look at whatever delicious things they put me in front of. Like pizzas and they put me in front of the s'mores one year. Oh my!
Oh
When the show, oh
no.
come on, no! I was like taking pictures of me trying to eat marshmallows before getting kicked out. It was a nightmare. Okay, don't do that to me. But it's a fun time.
Yes.
Those are fun.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see where they want you to set up at. There was one
Yes.
time I was set up in the middle of their Christmas display.
Really? That
I'm like,
shocks me.
hmm,
Why not? I mean, if you're
right?
selling around Christmas, you want people
Yeah.
to buy your books as
It,
gifts.
it actually I thought was very appropriate. It's
Yeah.
just that there was so much candy around me.
Oh, no. No. They often put us in floral, which is
Yeah.
often next to bakery.
Yes.
I'm going to be rolled to Kroger events if I keep eating the things around me. My gosh,
Yes, they are very productive events though, because you
they
get to
are.
meet so many different people.
It's the best part is chatting with folks who have loves of the genre that maybe
Mhm.
even books you don't know about, and they're just like passionate about it. They want to tell you, and you're sitting there talking to them, writing down all their favorite books, like it's so much fun.
Okay,
You're
my
like, really, I
TBR
should
is now
read that.
5 miles long. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. I needed more on that table, which is going to need a reinforcement or two. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. It's so great. And then when you come across people, I mean, I pull inspiration from everywhere, right? I mean, all the
Mhm.
books, all the movies, just walking outside and eavesdropping on people because I'm a writer and we're allowed to be rude like that.
Right.
We got a degree in eavesdropping. Uh, Everything, right? Anything can be inspiration. I had inspiration from a candle once. I mean, you name it. I'm putting it
Hmm.
in a book somehow because my brain will twist it sideways. And
Hey.
people, if they figure out, oh, well, that reminds me of, and they actually make that connection, it's kind of like cool. Like, you got
Yeah.
that too? Like that resonates. And that's really neat. Those are
Mhm.
fun moments.
So, have you put any characters that you've seen out at maybe Kroger or one of your other events? Have you put them into a book yet?
Not that I would admit. It's funny. I don't know that I have, but every once in a while I'll meet somebody that will remind me of a character and I'll go, remember that disclaimer in the front of the book that says that you aren't that person? I hope you read that. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me.
I didn't really write it about you.
Right. That is just a real coincidence.
So, are you going to be sticking in the fantasy genre, or do you have aspirations to go other genres?
I always call myself a one-trick pony. I don't know how to get away from fantasy, mostly because
Okay.
I literally see dragons in towels. I mean, if there's like a shadow or a cloud, I'm like, dragon. I can't not. I cannot
Okay.
not. So I would love to venture into other things, but the other problem is that I'm so well versed in the fantasy trope that I can edit other things relatively well because I understand the basics. But the actual writing, the nitty gritty, the things that make fantasy, those are the
Mhm.
things I'm the best versed in and most comfortable with. So I often feel a little out of my element, and I'd
Mhm.
probably have to work a little harder to write other genres. I'm not saying I would never do it, but right now, with the trajectory slash speed that I want to get the Realm Rider novels out, I probably wouldn't divest that interest soon. I'm probably
Okay.
going to stick with this for a while, get it going a little bit further through the series before I start getting creative.
Well, awesome. I had a question and it
Yeah.
escaped me.
Oh, okay.
I love
Welcome
it.
to my world. I had an idea, and then I saw a s'more over there. Yeah, I know.
Oh, dragon.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Ah, so, what do you do for your day job?
That's the fun part. I used to be in financial services for 10 years,
Oof.
and that was super helpful. Learned a lot about working, like running a business,
Hmm.
finance, investments, things of that nature. But I recently was married and was able to work with my husband, who is probably my number one fan of the series. And I have a couple of really wonderful people who are vying for that position. But so I don't want to say that, with any certainty. But he definitely is fan enough to support me. And so I have pivoted exclusively to writing and editing. And I have my own publishing company that also provides editorial services, HB Inc. based on my maiden name. And HB Inc. LLC is now my full-time position, which
Yay!
I'm living the dream. Let me tell you, he was so wonderful to give me this opportunity after slogging it for so many years out in the corporate world. And as good as that job was, and as wonderful as the people that I worked with and the clients were, boy, is it good to actually be doing my passion, because helping people is one of my passions, but I'd really
Mhm.
always wanted to do it in an editorial slash writing slash publication platform. And I'm
Mhm.
finally able to do that. Because I'll tell you what, with 2 English degrees, why I was working in finance doing number stuff was
Yes.
completely beyond me.
I was gonna say because they connect so well. Uh,
I know, right? It was an incredible experience, and it taught me so much, but it just wasn't harnessing some of the skills that I really wanted to be using on a daily basis. And so I'm super excited to be doing HB Inc. full time.
that is so awesome.
Yeah,
So do you find it because you went from corporate world
I did.
where I imagine your day was pretty structured
Yeah,
to where now you have to set that structure. How is
yeah.
that part going?
Honestly, so far it's going great. I can make more trips to the coffee maker than I think I was making before, because I can actually get away from a phone call because I don't have one coming through every 5 minutes. But I was able to set my schedule quite a bit. I had my own to do list. And so, what I ended up learning from that experience was that if I thrive with a to do list, I need a to do list. And so I found a way, a couple of different programs that I like using to keep me on track. And they basically structure my day. And then I just pick and choose what I want to do from those lists, or I give myself deadlines so that I force myself to do them by a certain time. So
Must
I'm
get this
actually
done by certain date.
right. Right. So I'm actually loving it. I'm loving the flexibility. I'm loving getting up and going to the coffee maker whenever I want to. And I'm trying to keep myself on track. And I think it's working. I feel a little like the time is running away from me somehow. When you have fun, things go faster. Heard about
Mhm.
that. But other than that, I'm getting lots of work done, and I'm really enjoying having me as my boss. Who knew?
That's a good
Yeah,
thing.
I don't know if anybody else enjoys it, but I loved it. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I love my boss too.
Yeah. It's great, right? He's a
It is. It's
master.
fabulous. I can't imagine doing a 9 to 5 job
I don't
anymore.
miss it.
No.
I miss the people, but I don't
Yes.
miss the job.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
So, with your editorial clients, are they also fantasy genres, or is that a nice
No.
variety?
Yeah, they're across the board, and I'm loving it. I am having so much fun. I'm finishing up a romance novel right now.
Okay.
And it's such a huge departure, and not that there isn't, the love interest and whatnot in the fantasy novels, but it's such a departure from my norm. And
Yeah.
I was doing horror before that, which is such a blast. I love all that stuff, which was funny because I was actually just watching some old Goosebumps and stuff, and then
Oh,
I got
yeah.
that client and I got her work, and I was like, "Ooh, this is so much fun." And now I'm doing romance, which is not normally within my wheelhouse, but I have enough experience with it to feel comfortable with it, and it's so much fun doing different stuff. And because I'm writing so much, reading isn't always something I can fit in. So editing allows me to do the reading and editing, which I enjoy.
Oh.
And it also sparks moments of inspiration for writing. So it's like the
Oh.
best of all worlds.
That I never thought about that you would get inspiration from your editorial
Oh
clients.
yeah. Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's so different from what you're writing.
yeah. Yeah. And it's still though. It's like because then they'll say something, right? They'll write something awesome. And I'll be like, oh, comment, love this. And then I'm like, hmm. I like the way they did that. How could I do something like that in my work? That's
Yeah.
such a cool way of handling XYZ. And it's
Mhm.
awesome. It's so great. I love it when authors can inspire each other, whether on the page or in person for shows or just however. I think it's great. Our community is so incredible. And I was so worried about dipping a toe into it. I'm a bit of a loner, like every author. We're all hermits at heart. But
Yep.
still, though, this community is welcoming, it's warm, and we all want to sit down and tell each other how to thrive. Like, this worked for me, this didn't work, don't do this, or do with caution. And
Yeah.
I love that. I didn't know what to expect from a bunch of hermits. And indeed, we're all like loving, caring, considerate people. I haven't found one yet that I didn't think was amazing. It's been such an incredible experience.
And that I think is very important is the sense of community.
Yeah.
And trust me, Michigan has more of, from what I've seen thus far,
Yeah.
more of a writing community than other states.
Well, it's
Uh,
cold here. Yeah, if
yeah,
we're not writing, we're drinking. Literally, we have nothing else. We have two options. So I guess you could craft. I can't. I would be covered in glue and glitter, and I would have to be vacuumed continuously. But for those who have actual hand-eye coordination, perhaps. But you don't have as many options 50% of the year, right? So you've got to do something. And I
this
think
is
it's wonderful
true.
that there's such a helpful everybody fosters this helpfulness within the community. It is
Hmm.
not competition based, which of course we're all selling, and we all want to do well, but it's not the thing is not about the competition of selling or outselling each other or gaining
Yep,
more readership. Because just because I'm a one trick pony doesn't mean that my readers only read fantasy. And so we
that's
can help
true.
each other. It's amazing. And even if they do just read fantasy, okay, great. You're done with my book. Go read her book. Go read his book. You liked this,
Hmm.
love those. And we can just pass our readers around between us, and it's so great having that think tank. It's wonderful.
And I know, I believe you are you going out to Third Coast?
I'm not.
You're not going.
I am not. They
Oh,
accepted me. I know. They accepted me, and I was super excited. But we are celebrating my husband's birthday that weekend on this side of the state,
okay.
and I felt that that was a lot too much to try to reschedule after having gotten everybody's RSVPs in, and we're all like ready to
Oh,
go. It just seemed like
okay. So it's not just you and him going out for birthday celebration.
no.
It's a whole party.
It's a thing, and I wanted to make that my priority, and we talked
Yep.
about it, and I was like, "There's a show, and it's amazing, and I'm accepted to it." But I was actually trying to apply for 2026. I thought they were full up, and I just wanted to throw my hat in the ring for next year. And they said, "Oh, we
Oh,
have room for
okay.
you," and I went, "Oh no, no, I can't, I can't, I just can't, I
I
can't
thought you meant
steal."
next year.
Right, exactly. I'll be there with bells on in 26, but I wish them the best. I'm so excited, and I wish I could just go be a fly on the wall and see how it
Yeah.
goes. But we've got a lot of authors in the community going, and I cannot wait to hear their experience. I think it's going to be amazing. That side of the state is fun.
And then you'll be with us at the end of June with 53 authors. Can you believe that?
I can't. Didn't we have like 40 the first, or not even 40 the
We
first year?
we maxed out at 40, and I think we only had two no shows, so we maxed out at 38.
That's an incredible attrition rate. Can I just say that? I mean, congratulations to you. That's stupid good attrition rate. Wow. Okay, so you've added a lot.
Yeah.
That's
Plus,
awesome.
we've got 5 vendors that are book centric vendors.
And that's
So
exciting too. What are they selling?
the, the criteria was that they had to sell things that were focused on books. So you're not going to find all your other artsy craftsy type things.
That's cool.
um, and we have a horse coming.
I heard about the horse.
I'm not surprised that you heard about the horse.
Yeah, no, the horse has gotten a lot of excitement. I know authors who want to be stationed with the horse because horseback.
Yes,
Yes.
she is stationed very close to the horse, so
Good. 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 I know that'll
her
make
and Mark can figure out who's on which side of the tent.
her. That's going to be so great. I'm super excited about this new venue. I think, and plus it's outside. I think it's going to be great.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and to be honest, we're it's in better weather, better time of
Right.
year.
Yes.
We weren't going to be outside in November,
Yeah. No. No way.
and even the April one was a bit shaky on weather.
Was it chilly? Michigan, man, you never know.
Well, that's the thing. Like April, you could end up with a really nice day up in the
Yeah.
60s or something.
Or
But
higher. You
yeah,
just don't know.
and then but with April, you could also end up with a snowstorm.
You could. It's a crapshoot.
So yeah, so being at the end of June, we're hoping that we're going to have some really good weather.
Yeah.
Lots of authors. We're going to have 46 genres represented.
I didn't even know there were that many genres. That's incredible.
Yeah, and that's not even all of them. That's
Right.
just
Yeah.
the 46 that were
Yeah.
confirmed. And you always get the ones, because I always put a box for other, and then
Yeah.
people can leave in the comments and the notes, what the other
Yeah.
genres are that I happen to miss. So
Right.
my list of genres is ever growing.
Awesome.
And there's going to be 280 titles.
I'm gonna have two. I'm working on it. 280. That's
Yes.
amazing.
So
Wow.
that is a lot of books. So
Yeah.
people need to bring their wagons,
Yes.
bring the wagons, bring the strollers.
Yes.
Not
And we're in
necessarily
Michigan,
the
so they
kids,
can
because they need
bring their
room for the
sled.
book.
This is gonna be great.
It is going to be a great time. And I can't wait to see you in person again.
Me
Because,
too. It's been a hot minute.
yes. And it's a little bit further of a drive right now because I'm
Yeah.
in South Carolina at the moment.
Are you flying up or are you driving?
We're driving. We don't fly, we
Okay.
drive.
All right. Respect.
And we enjoy the road trip. And that way, too, I can bring stuff with me.
Yes.
For
So much
me
easier.
to for me to fly, I would have to ship like all my signage up
I can't
and
imagine.
my books,
Mm-mm.
because I'm gonna have my books up there just
Yep.
because I can.
You should. Why wouldn't you? You're an
I'll have
opportunist.
my own tent.
Yes. Yes.
um, but yeah, and the tent.
Yeah, that's a
I
lot.
mean, then I could always borrow from my folks. But
Then you have to do that. There's
yeah.
always something. These shows are not easy, even just for the author who comes to
Mhm.
them. We come in with our crates and our backpacks and and our backs are broken lugging this stuff in. Some of us are lucky enough to have assistance. Some of us aren't. We've got dollies, the whole deal. And then you're coordinating this whole thing, which means you're doing 2, 3, 4, 5 times as much as we are.
Well, we actually got a new wagon because the old wagon broke.
Okay, you booked too hard. That's what happened there.
And so I had a previous wagon and the handle broke on it
Ugh, bummer.
because I put too much weight in it.
Mhm.
I know. Too many times.
Yep.
So we got a heavier duty one and it's longer.
Nice. Now you can put too much more in it again.
It has actually made it really easy going to and from shows.
Good.
So it was well worth every penny.
Awesome.
And that is one thing that I highly recommend for anybody attending the show, whether you're an author or a reader coming to
Mhm.
shop, or you're an author coming to shop.
Yep.
Um,
We do it
bring a
too.
wagon. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got 280 titles.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
You need a
books.
wagon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wagon numbers right there.
Yep.
That's
And we'll
awesome.
be outside in the middle of the 12-mile crossing at Fountain Walk, which means there's a whole bunch of restaurants and shops around us. So,
Last.
and we're already on their calendar.
Perfect.
So, I will see you in June. This has been wonderful. We could
Oh,
talk forever.
I know we could, but we should stop just so that, we can get some work done so that we're ready for June.
Right?
But thank you for having me. I'm super, super excited to be a part of it. It's going to be
I'm
great.
super excited to have you there.
Thank
See you
you.
in June.
All right. Take care.